Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I just got this great question via email and I had to hop on to start recording because I felt bad because the answers that I wanted to provide for her was so long and complicated. So I definitely needed to get some follow-up questions in order to answer. But I figured, you know what? Why not record this and be able to send it to her? And then also I know it will benefit so many people. So the question was, how do I break the emotional eating cycle? And I wish it was as simple as do this and do that. But unfortunately, it's a lot more complicated than that. With that said, it is possible. So make sure you listen from beginning to end so you can hear all of the steps it takes to break the emotional eating cycle. First things first, we probably need to define what emotional eating is. And it's pretty much eating without for any other reason than hunger. It's eating because you're sad. It's eating because you're happy. It's eating because you're depressed. It's eating because you're bored. It's eating because you're frustrated. It's eating because you're mad. And it could actually also be the opposite. It could be deciding you're not going to eat because you're trying to punish yourself or, punish your body or, kind of like rebel in some way. So it's a cycle. It's definitely the overeating. It's usually associated with guilt or shame or frustration for doing it. So for example, if you're kind of out and about and you're genuinely enjoying, you're happy and you're in a good mood and you're like, oh, let me go get ice cream. It's such a sunny day. And you're not hungry. Technically, that's emotional eating, but it's not the sort of cycle we're talking about where it becomes problematic, where now you're overeating it or feeling guilty for eating it. So now you feel like you have to excessively exercise or skip meals the next day or cut out carbohydrates or not have ice cream again for a year because this was the one time you're only allowed to have it, right? That's the big difference. So in this particular episode, where we're going to talk about how to break the emotional eating cycle is when you're feeling like out of control around food, or you're maybe trying to achieve a certain health goal or even an aesthetic goal or a weight loss goal, and it's somehow getting in the way of you achieving that. And that's where emotional eating can become frustrating because it's like you feel like you're trying so hard, but now you're still having these bouts of overeating or feeling out of control around food or feeling guilt or shame or having something you quote unquote shouldn't have had. And that's where it becomes really frustrating. And then it's harder for you to get to your goals and to feel good even when you get there. Okay. So I'm going to tell you 5 things that you can do to help break the emotional eating cycle. The first thing is we have to keep food neutral. So if you've been listening to the podcast for years and you follow my content on Instagram or TikTok, then you know that, keeping food neutral is something that I really believe in because it's true. You're not a good or bad person whether you have your veggies or not. You're not a good or bad person whether you have ice cream or not, or if you have chips, or if you eat a balanced meal, or you skip your meals or whatever. That doesn't make you a bad person, right? You didn't go and rob a bank. You didn't even screw up even. You're just living your life and you're trying to navigate it and figure it out. So when you think that when you put food on a pedestal or you put food in the garbage, like in your mind, meaning like that it's garbage and you shouldn't have it, then you're going to have these ties and these emotions. And now we're trying to break out of the emotional eating cycle. And so now we have multiple emotions, making it really hard to kind of adhere to what we wanted to do in the first place. So really make sure we're really looking at food as neutral. I'm not going to tell you, we're not arguing the fact that broccoli isn't more nutritious than ice cream. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's foods that are more nutrient dense than others, but every food has its place. We want to incorporate foods for fuel, for energy, for nutrients, but also flavor and fun and satisfaction. I think so many people forget about that. So the best way to kind of break through this is to actually make sure you're adhering to your emotional cycles and allowing yourself to have that crunch or that smooth or that cold or that hot or whatever it is that you're craving, but doing it also in a balanced way and knowing that you're not good or bad if you do or you don't, but more so kind of allowing yourself to have a combination of food for fuel and food for fun, right? And kind of enjoying it that way. So, but either way, keeping food pretty much neutral is the best place to start. Now, second is, you may have heard me talk about this before, but it's avoiding the danger zone. So this is something that I created that I realized, oh my God, so many clients come to us and they're so stuck here and they're so frustrated that they can't make progress. And it's because they're constantly in the danger zone. So the danger zone is, if you think about a Venn diagram, right? A Venn diagram overlaps in the center. So on the one side of the Venn diagram, we have our physical hunger that comes from under eating, or not getting enough nutrients, or maybe not eating balanced enough, maybe cutting out whole food groups, right? So that is the physical hunger that many people are experiencing. And then we have the other side of the Venn diagram, which I call like your emotional hunger or psychological hunger. So you're putting other people's needs before yours. Also, one thing I miss on the physical hunger side is you're not sleeping enough, or maybe you're over exercising. So that's a physical component. But so the psychological side to that is maybe, you're just emotionally drained. So you could be physically drained, but you could also be emotionally drained. Maybe you're overworking. Maybe you're spreading yourself too thin. Maybe you're not speaking up for yourself in your relationships, whether that be friends or romantic relationships, or even with family members. If you struggle with your mental health, if you have anxiety or depression, maybe you're not dealing with the root cause of those things, and it's important that you are getting the support from a psychological level as well. So what the danger zone is that overlap. That overlap is, I feel so many people are walking around like zombies, emotionally and physically, and they're taking care of so many other people. They're neglecting their own needs. They're trying either diet or cut out whole food groups, or trying to be quote unquote good, going back to number one, by like under eating and only eating like quote unquote clean foods or foods that are quote unquote good for you, right? They're doing that and then struggling either at night or on the weekends and overeating or binge eating, or kind of feeling like they finally got it, but then it's a free for all. And they're going on a bender for weeks. That's that emotional eating cycle that I think that this person who had emailed me was referring to, right? So step number 2 is avoiding that danger zone. So what does that mean? It means you need to fuel yourself. We always start our clients with just 3 balanced meals a day, including a carbohydrate, a protein, a fat, and some color, like a fruit or vegetable. And don't forget that fun, right? So that's really important in the beginning stages, is to just fuel yourself. Eat 3 balanced meals a day if you can. I know it's easier said than done, but just slowly try to incorporate more food, because what's happening is most people are under eating, and that leads to the overeating, or they're not really paying attention to, like I said earlier, that they want that crunch, or they want that salts and sweet combination, but learning how to do it with nutrient dense foods available, like finding that balance. And then that's where they're feeling neglected from their physical needs, and then emotionally they're not taking care of themselves at all. So on an emotional level, and I also find like the physical, like the fatigue comes from both ways, right? So from an emotional level or physical level, it might be getting to bed earlier. It might be allowing yourself to take a nap. It might be getting away from screen time a little bit. It might be delegating. It might be saying no to things. It might be saying yes to more things, maybe more fun. Maybe you're missing fun in your life, and that's where you're turning to food, right? So make sure that you're taking care of your physical needs and your emotional needs as best as you can, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to talk a little bit more in the further steps on maybe how we can really help support that. But so that's, so far we have food is neutral, keep food neutral. That's number 1. Number 2, avoid the danger zone. And number 3, know that progress isn't linear. Before you can break the emotional eating cycle, you're probably going to dabble in it for a while. So really pay attention to those different ways in which we can measure progress. So I've talked about this specifically when it comes to binge eating, which is more of like binge eating disorder, which goes a little deeper. It's going to take a little bit longer. But either way, you can still use the 5 ways in which we measure progress with binging and emotional eating, because they're often, the wording is very similar. People usually relate to them the same, and the healing process can look very much similar as well. So when it comes to your progress, know that there's many ways to measure it. I think a lot of people just think like, oh, well, screw it. I already screwed up. I may as well keep going. Or, oh man, I'm so mad at myself. It's been, 2 weeks that I've been doing this, that I've emotionally ate, and now here I am again. And they're upset about that. But if you take a step back and you realize, well, you used to do this every night. It's been 2 weeks. That's huge, right? So understand that how frequently you do it is a way you can measure progress. The choices that you make, maybe you normally would have something that's like, on purpose, like really fill yourself up, but you decide to choose something that you're like less likely to binge on. So you don't choose your trigger food or something like that. That's really great. I had to interrupt this episode to tell you about Dermatology. If you're not using their products yet, you absolutely need to. I have been someone who has always been really grateful to have good skin. I've always looked younger than my age. I made a joke the other day that it's not even a joke. I really do get ID'd all the time, whether I'm at a bar or at the liquor store or whatever. I haven't been like, nobody believes me that I'm not only am I over the age of 21, but when you're listening to this, I'm probably 32. I will never forget this one time. This is such a side story, but one time I went shopping. No, lying. I went to take a yoga class with my mom. And they asked me if my mom was there to sign, because if I wasn't 16 years old, I needed my mother present to sign for me for a hot yoga class. And I, at the time, I think I had just graduated college. So I was like 22 years old. They didn't even think I was 16. Okay. So all I had to say, I have a really good skin. I'm very blessed. I think it's thanks to my mom and my dad. They pretty much look really young for their age too. With that said, I have been taking a more proactive approach because even, as I'm aging very gracefully, my skin does tend to be a little bit more on the drier side. I've started noticing it's not as like firm as I feel like it used to be, and it just needs a little extra help and support. So before I tell you about the Dermatology products, I do want you to know that drinking lots of water, getting your beauty sleep is an actual term because it truly does help with your skin. But if you need help from your friends like I do, or starting to, or if you just want to look a little bit younger than your age and still get carded at whatever age, now I embrace it. Like now I'm like super excited. I'm like, yay, I don't look 21 because now I'm getting to the quote unquote older, which by the way, I also think that's BS. Either way, your skin is like a really large organ. It's the largest organ in your body. So we got to care for it. We got to take care of it. And a lot of the things we can do from the inside, we can also do from the outside. So with that said, the Needless Serum, the Renew Needless Serum, I use that. It's fabulous. I use their water-based lotion because my skin, like I said, is on the drier side, so I need a little bit of hydration. And honestly, the Universal Tinted Moisturizer, it has an SPF 46. It is really, really great because especially when I like first wake up in the morning, I wash my face and I'm going to go outside for a walk. I usually put on sunscreen, but with the Universal Tinted Moisturizer, it's basically my sunscreen and also a tinted moisturizer before I go outside, so I can safely go out with a walk, but also with a glow on my face. So anyways, there's so many other really incredible products. So basically you can go there and figure out what your skin type is and what your needs are, and they'll make suggestions. But either way, regardless of your skin type, you can know that all of their products are safe and effective. They are all backed by science, and they really do also believe in that SPF approach, because it is true that like also to protect your skin is not being, the sun is great for vitamin D, but after like 15 minutes, we gotta cover up because we definitely don't want that damage. So with that said, you can go to the link in my show notes so that way you can save 20% on your first order, or you could also just use Tony20 at checkout. So use Tony20 at checkout to save 20%, or go straight to using the affiliate link that I have in the show notes. So that way you can try Dermatology products. Like I said, they're safe, they're effective, they're backed by science, and they really will have your skin feeling absolutely incredibly amazing. All right, back to the episode. the volume, the amount of food maybe you used to eat to the point where you felt absolutely sick or you had to unbuckle your pants and not feel well. And now you kind of don't go for that feeling so much. It's more for like the taste in your mouth, but not for like the physical fullness. So you're improving your volume. We talked about duration. Oh, how long it lasts. We didn't talk about that. So maybe normally you would start and it would go on for hours, like until you would go to bed, or you start on a Thursday and it would go all the way through Monday. But now like you actually are catching yourself in the moment and you're being like, what am I doing? I don't need this. You stop yourself and you decide to like go to bed or go for a walk or call a friend. Like that's huge progress, right? And then the rebound. The rebound is another way to measure progress. So maybe in the past you would have felt guilt or shame or frustration, beat yourself up about it and decide to like go for a run or restrict your calories or go on a diet. But this time now you're like, you know what? It happened. I'm human. I forgive myself. Progress isn't linear. I'm going to keep it moving. Okay. So those are the different ways in which we can measure progress. And I think that's where people forget. And so that's why they get really stuck in kind of that all or nothing mentality. It's like, I'm doing well, but I'm not doing well. I'm doing well, but I'm not doing well. And in the reality of healing and growth and progress, it's going to be periods and flows of ups and downs. But what we're trying to do is to diminish how high are those highs and how lows are their lows. Can we really and like how often is this happening? Can we make it for when it does happen, it doesn't last forever. It's kind of it's a moment, right? We all have moment. We all get caught up in the moment. It's so normal to get caught up in the moment. That's where we're natural human beings who are going to respond to impulsive reactions, right? But it's learning how to pause. So this is a bonus tip. This is not part of how to break the emotional eating cycle, but it is a bonus tip that actually, if you need a video reminder of this, make sure that you are on my text list, because my text list is an opportunity for you to get like texts from me on a regular basis, but also there's a video about this method that I'm about to share with you so that you can have a video reminder of if you are struggling with emotional eating and you want bonus tips, you can just text my phone number, 914-219-6446, 914-219-6446. You can text the word emotional eating. You can just say hi, and you will get a video about the pause method, which I'm going to share with you here. But if you want, to have that in your phone all the time, and then you also just want, weekly texting information from me on just how to stay kind of supported and in charge, which goes to like some other the tips I'm going to give you, then make sure you text 914-219-6446 and say hi, or say emotional eating, and I will teach you the pause method. So I'll teach it to you really quick. So pause is an acronym. It stands for P, pay attention, A, assess how you feel, U, understand why you feel that way, S, set up a plan, and E, execute that plan. So in those moments, if you're feeling you're on the verge of, the refrigerator's calling your name, the freezer's calling your name, the grocery store's calling your name, where you're going to go and get like your trigger foods, and you're just like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. I don't want to feel numb right now. I don't want to feel anything, or I'm pissed off and like, screw this. This is so hard. I'm going to go and do it. I want you to pause. I want you to pay attention, assess how you feel, understand why you feel that way, set up a plan, and execute that plan. So an example would be, oh God, I really just want to like shut out the world right now. And I just want to just go get all my favorite snacks and like close the door and like have some solitude and just like eat, watch my favorite shows and like stay up till past midnight and like, screw it. I don't even care. I need some me time right now. Right. So understand why you feel that way. Well, maybe you've been pouring, into other people's cups and you haven't been filling your own. Maybe you haven't had created any space for solitude for yourself during the day or during the week or even this month, right? Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and it's just like, maybe you've been spending so much time taking care of other people. You want to have that's what we call, I think in the psychology world, they call buyback time. Trying to buy back that time because you didn't create it in the space of your day. So it's very understanding why you would feel that way. Now, at the same time, ironically, by you choosing to do that, and maybe you have to get up the next morning at like 7 a.m. to take care of the kids or to go to work, or you wanted to go to the gym because that's important to you too. Whatever it is, you want to set up a plan that's going to help you be able to do those things, because the fact is because you're not getting enough time for yourself during the day, you feel like you have to buy it back at night, and the cycle continues, right? So the plan we would execute in that moment would be like, you know what? I understand why I feel this way. As much as I want to do this, I also know that it's just going to feed into this current cycle, and it's why I'm here in the first place. So I'm just going to go to bed because that's what my body needs right now. And tomorrow, I am going to allow myself 20 or 30 minutes in the middle of the day to watch, or whatever show, maybe it's a 45-minute show, whatever it is. I'm going to allow myself in the middle of the day to watch my shows before the kids come home. I'm going to allow myself, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk and like create space for me. I'm going to make sure that I do that workout because I've been putting it off, and I really just want to get into a good routine. I want to start my mornings off right. I want to be in a good mood, and I want to have the energy. And so that's what I'm going to do for myself. And then later in the afternoon or before I go to bed, I will allow myself to watch one of those episodes and then just turn the TV off and then go to sleep or whatever it is, right? So that's where we can execute that plan. That's the pause method. And we're getting out of that emotional eating cycle. Okay. Step number 4 is be patient. This takes time. So they're kind of tied together to the previous one, knowing progress isn't linear. But I just need to remind you that this takes time, and you're going to always feel like you're battling it all, especially if you have like a long history of dieting or a really disordered relationship with food. It's something that, think about the amount of years that you spent dieting and being stuck in the emotional eating cycle. It's probably going to take, I don't want to say it's going to take as long as the amount of time you've been stuck in it, but I would say probably at least half. Now, the thing that could speed it up is step number 5, which is getting support. When you work with a nutrition professional, a registered dietitian, and a mental health professional, right? If we're going back to the danger zone, you're going to, the more support that you get, the faster you're going to get there. So I think that's where a lot of people think like, I can do this on my own. I can try, I got this. But the reality is that you probably have been trying to do it on your own, and you've been spinning your wheels, and you've been frustrated, and you've been feeling stuck. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. I've definitely have been there. I've been there in my relationship with food, relationship with my body. I've also been there in business and just in life and relationships with others. There's always that point where we feel stuck because we've tried all the things, but that's when we reach out for help. That's when I've hired my own dietitian for myself. That's when I've worked with a therapist. I worked with couples therapists. I've worked with business coaches. I've done the things because I got tired of being tired. I was tired of feeling stuck. I was tired of trying to figure it out on my own. And there comes a point in time where it's time to reach out for help and to get support. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you'll be able to break through the cycle. And the closer you'll be to that person you envision that you've always hoped that you could be, that person that wakes up in the morning and loves her mornings and loves her days and loves her workouts and loves to cook and loves to eat without guilt or shame, feels good in their body, feels good in their skin. That is ultimately how you're going to get there, right? You're going to get there faster when you get support. So hiring help is always going to be the fastest way, the right help that you hire. It's going to be the fastest way. There's other ways to get support though too. So I want to be kind of fully transparent to anybody who maybe financially can't invest in a coach. I want you to know that either way, it's always, if you can justify going on vacation, you can justify going on a coach, right? Hiring a coach, right? So in that sense, it's there. But at the same time, maybe not everyone's in the best place financially. So the best way you could also get support is listening to podcasts like this. I have my free healthy lifestyle support group on Facebook. I'll make sure to link that in the show notes. You can get a copy of my book, Once Upon a Diet. It's on Amazon. It's only $19.95. The audio version, if you have, if you're a Prime member, you can probably download it for free with credits. The ebook version's $9.99. Either way, super easy and affordable ways to get that support you need. Now, with that said, if you're looking for the fast track, if you're you're really tired and you're really ready and you have savings or you're ready to put it on your credit card, whatever it is, and you really want to get the support and the help that you need, then do not wait. Go to tipswithtony.com/coaching and apply to the 6 months of Food Freedom Program. It is going to be the fastest, the best way to get you to your goals. So you're going to still have to be patient. You're still going to understand that progress isn't linear. You're still going to have to work on your mindset around food and keeping it neutral. But when it comes to getting out of that danger zone, especially from a physical component, if you're not sure of what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, we help you understand that. And then from the emotional level, we're not therapists, we're not psychologists. We will refer out if necessary, but we do pay attention to how you're managing your stress. We will encourage you to engage in lifestyle behaviors and factors like setting boundaries and going to bed earlier and doing things like maybe yoga or meditation or journaling or writing up, helping with your body image and all those things. We do touch on that because it's important, right? And we know that it's multifactorial. And that's why I really call it more like a healthy lifestyle program more so than a nutrition program. Although nutrition is the solid foundation, we make sure we're looking at all these other areas that are pillars and important to your health, right? So we're looking at your movement, we're looking at your bowel movements, we're looking at your energy. If you are a woman and you're menstruating, even if you're not menstruating, even if you're perimenopausal or menopausal, believe it or not, you at a certain point, you still do kind of get signs and symptoms and all that, which affect your mood, your energy, your cravings, right? So we're paying attention to that. We're really taking a deep dive and a deep look into what it is that is going to make you successful and where are the barriers. So it could be hormonal things that are getting in the way. It could be stress management things that are getting in the way. It could be, cooking skills and knowing what to cook or what you have access to. Could be snacking that we need to pay attention to. It could be hydration. It could be sleep. It's usually most of those things, right? And so over that 6-month period, we're really assessing each of those areas and helping you understand you better, helping you understand what it is that you need to shift. What are the habits you need to form in order to be successful? So whether you have health goals or weight loss goals or aesthetic goals, we will help you get there, making sure that the emphasis is more so on who you are, who you want to be, and the habits required to get there, and then looking at those things as being beautiful byproducts of that. So we're really helping you to fall in love with the journey, loving living a healthy lifestyle. That is where we start. So if that sounds like you and you want to learn more about that, go to tipswithtony.com/coaching, watch the video about the program, read up about it a little bit more, put in your application. Once I receive your application, I will reach out to you. We will schedule a Zoom call. We will make sure it's a good fit for you. We'll go back and forth, get to know each other better. I'll assess kind of which dietitian I think you'd be best suited with. I'd pair you with that dietitian. I oversee the entire process. We have group calls as additional bonuses. We actually have one of our dietitians, Christina, giving a cooking demonstration next week. We have a fitness trainer who comes in and does live workouts once a month. It's such a great community. It's great. It's a great program to be a part of. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go to tipswithtony.com/coaching, apply, and we'll talk about it and make sure it's a good fit for you. And if I think it's a good fit, I'll invite you to the program. So that's how that works. If you got anything out of this, please share this with a friend, share it on your story. Emotional eating is a challenging thing to break through that cycle, but it is possible. Like I said, it just requires keeping food neutral, getting out of avoiding the danger zone, knowing progress isn't linear, being patient, and then lastly, getting support. So I hope I see your application come through, or I see you in the Facebook group or on my text list. However it is that I can support you, I'm here for you. We're here for you. If you have additional questions that you maybe want me to do a podcast about, send me an email, tipswithtony@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram at tips_with_Tony with an I, or the Tips with Tony podcast. All right. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.